Hello TikTokers, Foxanne here. Hope everybody had a good day. Mine was traumatic. Went to the shelter this morning and they told me there wasn't any room again, so when I left the shelter I called the trafficking advocates. The trafficking advocate reached out to the shelter to see what was going on because I'd been there every day this week. She told me, she called back and said that they told her that there was beds available to go back down there. So I went back down there. The lady comes out and she's like, "You can't just sit here." And I was like, "No, ma'am. My trafficking advocate told me to call back down. Let me call her and get her on the line." And the trafficking advocate apologized. There must have been a miscommunication, but it was traumatic. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. You know, I know what's going on. Over the past year, well, 2 years, it started 2 years ago when I did a podcast with a friend and I was promoting blood type, how blood types are an indicator of your spiritual lineage. That's when things kind of took a weird turn then, and I'd always known that I was different than a lot of my peers, because as I got older I realized that certain things that were normal for me weren't normal for other people, like astral projection and dream walking. I thought everybody could do it. Then I got older and realized it wasn't normal. A lot of my spiritual gifts I never shared with people because out of fear of being labeled crazy or, you know, the witch. And what do they do? What is history historically known to do? Burn the witch. So I never really spoke up about my spiritual gifts. I was never comfortable with sharing them, especially when I was a little girl. My mom, I told you guys the story about my parents being friends with the high priest and priestess, voodoo priest and priestess. We were friends with their kids and my parents were friends with the parents. And my mom would get inebriated sometimes. She'd get to drinking the spirits and she'd tell me that she had the voodoo priest and priestess put a binding spell on me to keep me from waking up to my gifts. And we'd argue about it. She'd be, you know, of course you can't argue with somebody in that state, but there's so much that she hinted to and told me about as a little girl that I'm really starting to see clearly now as a grown woman. And it's scary. It's scary because there's so much good I could do for the world. You know, since I've been talking up and speaking out about how I learned about myself, you know, I just wanted to know why I was so different. I just wanted to know why there was always this target on my back, why people love to hate me so much. So in my isolation, because I spent a lot of time alone as a child, a lot of time alone as an adult, and I wanted to know who I was and where I came from genetically to understand myself more. And that's how I found out about the different blood types, and that's how I was able to piece together the lineage, and your hierarchy, your spiritual hierarchy. That's also how I was able to discover the M's on your palms and what those stood for through my esoteric studies. I was the one to first present that. I have the original post on here on TikTok. I was the one who presented that into the algorithm. I also am the one that started Ommunism. When I got to wanting to discover who I was and where I came from, I started working on religion, and trying to get to the bottom of it and which religion had it right. And honestly, all I could come up with, the conclusion was, it's all the same thing, just different ways of saying it, different dialects, different cultures. And it definitely made the most sense when reading the Bible with the Tower of Babel. He didn't divide us by our God. He divided us by our languages. And I started to embrace my uniqueness. I started embracing how different I was. And when I met my ex, thank you for all the support. Hi, Connor. Oh, hey, Connor. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm okay. When I started it nope, I still don't, Connor, but I'm not currently looking for one. Sorry, honey. But when I first started embracing my uniqueness and who I am, and I started developing my own world, yeah, I know, honey, I know you say that, but I need more than a boyfriend, honey. I need a protector, an actual protector. I need somebody that is a spiritual and physical, that can see through the veil in the 5D and the 3D. And sweetie, I don't even know if you understand what language I'm talking. Because most people don't. Most people have not understood my language my entire life, and now you see it everywhere on this platform. And not only do you see it on this platform, but you're starting to see it bleed in to the other platforms. Nobody knew what Omninism was until a few years ago. Nobody knew what the Impalm theory was. Nobody knew about the theory of your lineage hierarchy through your blood type. We knew from the studies that it indicated strong personality traits, even indicating spiritual matters. I'm just going through a lot. There's a lot going on, and I've been trying to wake the world up to it, and people aren't listening to me. They can't hear me because you can't speak butterfly language with caterpillar people, and I feel very alone. I felt like this my whole life. And there's so many spiritualists on here that say that they're awake to it and they're attuned to it, but are they? Do they really feel what I'm saying? Can they really feel the connective consciousness that unites us all? Or are they only worried about themselves? I don't know. But I know that the friends that have been on this journey with me, that's helping me currently, they've been here pretty much since the beginning. When I first broke up with my ex-fiance, and they have seen things firsthand that aren't making sense. It's like, this is weird. And it's like, thank God there's witnesses, because people wouldn't believe me otherwise. I have had to come on here with people that have came on here to validate different experiences in my life, to validate, what I've gone through and what they personally saw and what they personally witnessed. And it's like, and people still don't hear me. They still don't see me. And maybe that's my fault for mixing the butterfly and the caterpillar language up. Maybe I should have just stuck with the caterpillar language, and stuck with the concrete facts, and promoted my story and what could be seen in the 3D, and instead of filling time with the 5D, with the butterfly language. trying to teach you guys how to tap into your third eye and activate your crown and align your chakras and how to become grounded and truly, truly connect with the universe. Because now it seems like it's all muddled together and nobody can see me and nobody can hear me and I'm just drowning. And there's so much more I would love to tell people, but I don't think they would believe me. I don't think they could hear it. They love to steal my content, but they don't know what it's like to be me. They want to steal my ideas, but they don't know the pain and suffering I went through to become that unique, to see through that veil, to see that concept. How can you steal a concept that you can't even connect with? You don't even know how to comprehend it. But you're going to steal it as your own and promote it on your page as your own when you don't even comprehend the bigger meaning to it and all the intricate pieces that are connected to it. Like, make it make sense. No, Connor, I can't have any more guests on my page. I'm sorry, Bob. There's only a few people that I allow on here now. Just because of the targeting and the sabotage. Not that I wouldn't like to, not that I wouldn't like to have branch out and make more friends but that's the thing. I've tried to make friends my entire life, but I've tried to make friends with the people that could not comprehend and understand me. You know what I found out when I was doing my research with science and genetics? That you have less than a 2% opportunity, less than a 2% chance of ever meeting anybody like me. And then when you factor in my other genetics, then you have less than a 1% chance of ever meeting anybody with my genetic coding. And I was like, that's it. That's the answer. I found out why I'm so different, why people love to hate me so much. But it was so much more than genetics. It wasn't just who I was in the physical, but it was also who I was in the spiritual. I appreciate that, Connor. People really knew the truth. I don't think... Maybe this is why things have been being handled the way they're handled, because there is a greater truth that is coming into alignment with humanity, and I think if it all came down at once, it would put people into psychosis. Maybe I've had my whole lifetime to prepare for this and to understand this, because I spent an eternity, it felt like, trying to figure out who I was and understand. When my peers were going to college frat parties, I went to school for massage and yoga. I was big into nutrition even in high school. I was a vegetarian and a vegan for nearly 10 years. And I know, I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying there's a lot of more benefits than people realize to having a plant-based diet. Not just, health for your physical health, but your metaphysical health. I mean, I just, and it's not for everybody, trust me. Even your blood types tell you. Even certain blood types need higher protein than other blood types. It's... I don't know. I dedicated my whole life to trying to understand myself and to be able to better understand why humans were the way they were, why I started taking psychology classes in high school before I even got to college. You know, it just... And you can see it too. You can see it. You really can. When you can see when somebody has the lights off, or when they're dimmed down low versus full wattage. You know, like I'm a full wattage vibrational being. And there's some people that, you know, I come across when I'm out in public, and you can tell there's no lights on at all upstairs. And then there's others you can see where they're kind of peeking through, but not all the way through. You know, and I understand, like, I get it. There's so much to my life, so many moving pieces, so many. It's always been about my identity. It's always been about hiding who I am. If the things I had to say weren't worthy of being repeated and had no value, then it wouldn't have gone viral the way it has. You guys hear me all over the social media, but you can't see me because they're keeping me hidden. There's a lot of information that I really want to share with you guys, and part of me is just like, why? They don't even care if I die. Why? I was sitting here to help humanity understand themselves and help them evolve, and they don't even care if I live or die. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I really don't. And telling me to stay strong when I'm literally being attacked and attacked and attacked with no allies, that's just... I can't comprehend people's thinking on that one. Nobody is coming to my relief. Nobody's coming to my aid, and that's just how humanity is. If it doesn't concern them and it doesn't concern their life, they don't care. But they'll complain about it. They'll come on here and they'll get on their soapbox. I don't live in my car. I'm actually homeless, Remy. I kept getting vehicles, and my ex kept sabotaging them. He sabotaged 3 vehicles for me, trying to make sure I had no car to live in. He made a deal to make sure that I winded up either unalived, incarcerated, or committed. And he stuck to it. So yeah, I don't have a car, dude. And then when I was living out in Iowa, I was finally able to get a job, which that was rearranged. That was, that was definitely staged, and they made it to where I didn't make enough to save enough money to get another car. They made sure I didn't make enough to qualify for food stamps to have control over my own food, and they made sure that I thanks, I appreciate that. They made sure that I couldn't gain enough money to get a vehicle. I have been targeted. I have been trafficked. I have been brutalized my entire life. And nothing's gonna change because people won't do anything about it. Nothing's gonna change with the Epstein list because people won't do anything about it. Knowing the names on that list isn't gonna change them getting away with what they've done, because nobody's gonna hold them accountable. They'll complain about it for the attention. They'll talk about it for the attention, but they won't do anything about it because their life's too comfortable. Why involve themselves in matters that don't concern them if it means making their life uncomfortable? Humans are selfish. That's why they've been able to get away with what they've gotten away with for so long. Everything I've spoken about keeps coming forward. I told everybody way before anybody else on TikTok. And don't you think for a moment the ones that start speaking up on it right after I mentioned it in my live, don't even try it. I've been telling people that for years, that he was set up to take the fall for the crimes that they were committing. He was a scapegoat because he didn't want to partake in it. He didn't want to become like them. He didn't want to do that. He had too much trauma as a child that he didn't want to inflict that type of pain and suffering on other children. And look, now that came to light. Imagine that. The narcissistic monsters trying to paint the light workers and the healers out to be the bad guys. And people just fall into it. They just believe it blindly. You know, that's the thing too. Like, during this experience, like, I could always see the demons in people. But it's like nothing I've ever seen before here lately. I mean, now I can feel them before I see them. I can, like if I'm sitting in a room, I can feel a demonic entity getting closer before that person even enters the room. I can feel the demon in them. But I can still see the light in people too. There's not as many people that know how to protect themselves from demonic possession. There's really not. They don't know, they don't understand that we are born of sin, therefore we are sinners, therefore we already have the demonic attachment when we come into this world. And unfortunately, they don't know how to tame their demons. They don't understand the balance that needs to take place in order to get control over your demons and to prevent any further entities from entering your vessel. And that's what I've been trying to do here over the past year, because I already realized a while back that I was as good as gone, that I was living on borrowed time, that nobody was going to help me. So I started trying to speak up about it. I tried to start teaching people about it. And of course, people heard me. They stole my content. They stole the information, the esoteric knowledge that I earned, that I gained, that I worked for, to try to pass it off as their own. Which either way, it's still helping getting the word spread. People are starting to wake up to themselves more and more. So I suppose that's the bright side. The downside is I get to be made a martyr for it. I get to slowly dwindle away into nothing, while other people live comfortably off of me, off of what I came here to do for the world. And then they wonder why they're having issues in their life. And they really think they're good people. No. A good person doesn't steal from somebody else and try to pass it off as their own wisdom, while that person is drowning with no life preserve. That makes you as guilty as the people who targeted me. Spiritual battle, man. These spiritual battles out here are real. I don't know why people can't see it. I'm about done with humanity, though. I'm telling you that right now. I'm really ready to throw in the towel. Yeah. Look at the Wheel of Fortune. We got Liftoff High Vibing with the Wheel of Fortune. Somebody is definitely manifesting their abundance and their wealth. They're staying high vibrational enough to manifest it. That's good. Oh, look. Looks like you have an offer coming in. Could possibly be love. It could be a partnership. It could be a work situation. But you're in your star energy. That's good. Good for you. It must be nice to be able to live a normal life. My life has never been normal. Never. Probably never will be either, but that's okay. Maybe in the next life. Definitely not, Sandra, so don't even try it. Do not even try it. Because I'm telling you right now, lady, I don't know what demonic entities attached to you to come on my page and fucking say that, but everything I do is monitored. And it's not just monitored, it's monitored by cybersecurity, because there has been major crimes committed against me on here. So you better get on with yourself there, wicked witch. Do not be coming on my page being demonic. And you're the adult. Why aren't you monitoring what's going on? Blame yourself for being a bad parent. But don't you even dare try to drag me into something I have nothing to do with and try to make accusations against me, because there's already people monitoring my situation. Law enforcement's already involved. Hello. No, I am not. Not at all. You guys better quit it. I'm telling you what. I'm not kidding you guys. I have been monitored by the FBI. I'm being monitored by the CIA. And I'm being monitored by Homeland Security. Why would anybody come on here and try to harass me like that when I'm already being monitored by several law enforcement and cybersecurity? You guys can both get bit and get the fuck out of here. And you're going to be reported to the investigators. I'm not dealing with this. I'm sick and tired of these demonic ass entities, these demonic ass people. Thank you. That's what I mean, man. I can't go a day without demonic people on here. It's crazy. It is so crazy. I don't message anyone. They just have to keep up this narrative. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm really starting to believe is true, that there is a link between me and the Epstein list. Supposedly my mother, when in the 80s, she had me out of wedlock when she was a runway model with a very, very powerful, well-known man. And that well-known man has been trafficking me my entire life. And I believe it. I fucking believe it. Because that man's on the Epstein list. And that man, I can see it. I do look like him. And not only do I look like him, but I think it's crazy how this entire time, with all the smear campaigns and all the targeting, they keep trying to make me look like I'm racist. I am not racist. They keep trying to make me look like I'm a weirdo. I'm not a weirdo when it comes to kids. Like, that's not me. I'm not that person. But it's so funny how supposedly that man on the Epstein list is supposedly my fucking father. And I've supposedly have been trafficked by him my entire life to keep my identity hidden. And the same thing that man's being accused of is what people keep trying to harass me with and try to make me look like I'm doing. Kind of fucking funny. Isn't that funny? That's what narcissists do. Isn't that funny, the tactics that are being used? And it would have to take a very, very wealthy, powerful person to pull off what has been being done to me. The type of control. I mean, controlling my ability to work, my ability to thrive, my ability to rebuild my life. It would take somebody in his position to do what's being done to me. You guys want to know where the Epstein victims are? They're right in front of you! But everybody's turning a blind eye. Nobody sees it. But they all want to run their mouths and complain about it. Fucking live it! And tell me how live it you are. That everybody wants to run their fucking cocksuckers, but nobody wants to do anything about it. The reason the Epstein victims don't come forward is because they can't. Because they're being systematically abused. They're being hidden. They're being controlled. Hypocrites. Yeah, nobody does care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if they're eating babies. They'll run their mouths about it, but they won't do anything about it. They'll run their mouths about it because it gets them attention and it gets them clout and it gets them likes and it gets them shared. But what are you people doing about it other than trying to get attention for your platforms? Nothing. Oh yeah, it is. Trust me. It is absolutely wild that they're getting away with it. Why? Because people are weak and selfish and only care about themselves and their own comfortability. God fucking forbid that you actually stand up and do something about it. I don't know. People only care when it affects them. Just remember that. Yeah, money talks. You're absolutely right. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And there's a lot of money to be made with human trafficking in every form. Trafficking isn't just SES trafficking, it's also organ trafficking, it's also labor trafficking, it's also insurance fraud trafficking. There's numerous forms of trafficking that people don't even realize. And it makes the rich very wealthy, and it keeps them wealthy. And they're going to make sure they do everything within their power to maintain their wealth. Because a lot more people are into human trafficking than humans realize. Yeah, I saw that they were on the list. Honestly, I wasn't surprised to see them on the list. It made sense if you asked me. It really did. It really, there's a lot of people on that list that made sense to me that I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see that. I can see those kind of demons being attached to them. There were a few that I was like, what? Really? I don't know about that one. But I do know, there's a few on that list that are actually operatives. They're actually undercover. And they've actually been working to, they've actually been working to, they've been working to, infiltrate the, these cults and covens and secret societies. You know, pretty much like what happened with the... Oh no, it's a fake account. It's the notification. It's a fake account. No, I'm not about to get suspended because I'm not an idiot. It's a fake account. Trolls make fake accounts on here to try to get people to force them off their lives, to get them to stop talking. They've been trying to force me to shut up for well over a year now. They've been trying to silence me. So I'm already hipped to their tactics and it doesn't affect me. I'm not dumb enough to fall for their bullshit. Never have been, and that's why they don't like me. That, and I can't be, well, I can't be contained. I'll put it that way. So apparently, supposedly, how the story goes is after my mother got pregnant with that wealthy businessman's baby, they kept trying to force her into terminating the pregnancy. She wouldn't terminate the pregnancy, so they kept going after her, attacking her. She ran to her father, who was a federal marshal. She was safe for a little bit until she could deliver the baby. Then they red-rumped my grandfather. He died suddenly, unexpectedly, from a heart attack that they induced with poisoning. She was forced into an arranged marriage with a military man that took us overseas. So I was raised overseas, so nobody could figure out who I was and figure out my identity. Well, the man that my mother was forced into an arranged marriage with, he ran a child trafficking ring. Where the good old Epstein's Boys Club experimented on how to condition the children that they were abusing through government resources. This is not fiction. This is this is facts. This is nonfiction. This is the real reality of the life I grew up in. Anyways, my father never could. The father that I was assigned to as my handler, that my mother was forced into marrying, he could never get me to conform and comply. The rest of my siblings, they were easily brainwashed. They were easily controlled and manipulated. The gaslight tactics worked very well on them, but for me it did not. Fear did not work. Gaslighting did not work. The manipulation tactics did not work. I fought my father tooth and nail. I kicked, I screamed, I punched, I ran, I bit. I did everything I could to get away from him as a small child up against a military man. Eventually it got too loud. Too many neighbors were noticing because I fought too hard. So that's when they developed using sleep aids. My father started dosing me. And that's how they learned how to dose children. And that's how they learned how to condition them in a twilight state. And that's how they also learned how to condition the perfect next generation of traffickers. What a lot of people around my age that are being given offers to join these cults and covens and these societies don't realize is they too were trafficked their entire life. They were conditioned. There was no coincidences in their life. And some of us have no idea what they've never woken up to what was done to them. Some of them are too traumatized to accept what happened to them. And some of them decided it's, if you can't beat them, join them. And they became like them. You know, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. A lot of people have that mentality: if you can't beat them, join them. It's better than being targeted by them. There was a... whatever. Well, I got flagged, and it wasn't for misinformation. It's my life. I think I know what I lived. But you guys keep it up. You guys keep helping them hide the victims. Good job. Hope you're proud of yourselves.